we're back now. We're back for episode 6, and let's jump right into it. Miguel Cabrera, Andrew, 3,000 hits. He became the 7th player in Major League history to record both 3,000 hits and 500 home runs. That 500th home run coming last year against the Toronto Blue Jays. I believe it was in September. It's just been very exciting. It's another milestone in a career for a player that has had nothing but a plethora of milestones.
Yeah, it's great for Miggy, but it was very interesting. So he did end up getting his hit on Friday, but he entered the game on Thursday against the Yankees after getting 3 hits. I believe it was on Wednesday with 2,999. When it goes 0 for 3, it comes up, big moment, 1-0 game, 2 outs, second and third. We were like, this is the perfect moment, make a big lead, and Aaron Boone decides to intentionally walk Miggy. So with the moment, I think it was the right move. With the moment being so big, I think it would have been cool if, I mean, I don't know as a Yankees fan what I would say, but I think it'd be cool if he kind of let him have the chance to get it. But what do you think?
I'm very happy you brought that up, Andrew, because I've seen a lot of people on Twitter and just in the Major League world in general just bash Aaron Boone and the Yankees for this decision. Bash them, like typical Yankee decision. The Yankees have no class, something like that. And that is just not true. Not true at all. You got to put the milestone aside. Miggy was going to get it regardless. He got it the next game. He was going to get that hit regardless of what happened. It was a 2-1 game or whatever it was. It was within reach. Well, I think it was 1-0, right?
Yeah, 1-0.
1-0. 1-0 in the bottom of the 8th inning. You put Miguel Cabrera on first base, and what happens? Oh, there's a force play at every base. It had nothing to do with the milestone. It was a baseball decision. If they got the ground ball, could have been a double play, and the Yankees could have gone on and won the game. Is it infuriating for some people? Yeah, it definitely was infuriating for some people. But I'm not, even if I wasn't a Yankee fan, I think I would still think the same way in terms of this scenario, because it was a baseball move. Knowing the baseball man that Aaron Boone is, it probably hurt him inside to do that. Ryan Ruocco of the Yes Network said that while it was going on. And yeah, it may have hurt because, it only a handful of players have recorded 3,000 hits, and only 7 have done what Miguel Cabrera has done in his career in terms of 3,000 hits and 500 home runs. But it was a baseball decision. Aaron Boone's job is to win baseball games. That was a decision that was made to put the Yankees in the best possible position to win the game at the moment in that game, in the bottom of the 8th inning. And to be honest, the hate is ridiculous. He ended up getting the hit the next game, like I just said. And if they were up 8-0, understood. Like, you're going to let Miguel Cabrera get the at-bat there. But you weren't. You were up 1-0. That game could have easily flipped on its head and the Yankees could have won. And if they let Miguel Cabrera hit and he drives in those 2 runs, yay, there's a party, 3,000 hits. But, oh, wait, we're down 3-0, and now we have a bigger hole to climb out of in the top of the 9th, which ended up happening regardless. But forget that. It was a baseball decision. That's all I got on that.
Yeah, well, I can't completely agree. There's some unwritten rules where I can kind of get their side with it. You know how we talk about like the pimping home run stuff or like bunting with no hitters, like those. I kind of see the argument. There's no argument with this. It was a 1-0 game, and I think it was good.
Exactly.
I think it's honestly better because he got it the next day, and right there was his longtime teammate Jose Iglesias.
And they blew out the Rockies too. Like it was like this was the game against the Yankees was not a joke. It was not a blowout. The Yankees could have swept the series. There was just, and I know it's April. It's April. It's early. There's going to be a bunch of excuses, and there will always be these excuses. But at the end of the day, when you want to get to October, you got to win these games in April. And the Yankees, and specifically Aaron Boone, they were trying to put themselves in a position to win the game, and that meant walking Miguel Cabrera when 3,000 hits was on the line. So. Not a bad decision, a little overreaction, but congrats to Miguel Cabrera on his 3,000th hit. Came off of Anthony Santazella of the Colorado Rockies, base hit into right field. Great job. It was just a Miggy piece of hitting. Just took it to right field, and it was beautiful.
Yeah. So next thing I'm gonna bring up is just a little bit of news, injury news here. John Means, unfortunately had a sprained elbow, which required Tommy John surgery. One of the only bright spots really for the Orioles. He had a 3.62 ERA last year, leading, the worst rotation in baseball. He definitely could have been a good trade piece for them. So there's just unfortunate.
A little minor of a topic, just because it is the Baltimore Orioles. No disrespect to them whatsoever, but John Means is their ace. There's pretty clear cut there. Don't really think he'd be an ace on every other staff in Major League Baseball, but he's a very good pitcher nonetheless. Very good pitcher. Would love to have him on the Yankees. I think he would thrive anywhere else. He could fit right into almost any rotation. Soft throwing left-hander. It's a lot of ground balls. Threw a no-hitter last year. That could have been a perfect game. But yeah, it goes down with Tommy John surgery. He's going to be out for a while now. And like you said, Andrew, the biggest significance of this to me is that takes a very what could be a very valuable arm on the trade market is now not a thing. They're not going to trade him. No one's going to want him. Obviously, he's not going to play for over a year. So that's really the most significance that I can take out of this situation. But John Means still a great pitcher. Hopeful for a speedy recovery and get back on the bump soon.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to start talking about one of the two teams that I alluded to in our intro, and that is going to be the New York Mets. New York Mets, first place, best team in baseball, first place in the National League East at 14-6. They are 3 games ahead of the second place Miami Marlins. Still, as we introed the show with, only 3 weeks in, but they've been one of the best teams, if not the best team in all of baseball. They have the best record. That goes without saying. Obviously, if you have the best record, you're going to be in a conversation to be the best team in baseball. But all around, both sides of the ball, this team has been very good. This is at least a top 10 offense in the National League. And they have definitely lived up to that top 5 pitching staff hype that was surrounding them after getting Max Scherzer and Chris Bassett in the offseason. Starting rotation has been very good. You look at Tyler McGill, the season that he's having, unbelievable stuff. Makes it look like the absence of Jacob deGrom really hasn't hit the Mets as hard as most, and including myself, thought it was going to hit them.
Yeah, the Mets, I think they're going to be completely fine. DeGrom, they did just have an update how his shoulder is healing a little bit. He's going to need at least 3 more weeks before he starts throwing. But yeah, 13-5. Max Scherzer's been incredible. Carlos Carrasco, I think, has the lowest ERA out of that whole rotation. Lindor and Nimmo have been killing it. McNeil, the Mets, they're going to be there. They're one of the top teams in the NL, and they're going to be completely fine without DeGrom for the first half.
And they have through 20 games so far. I really don't see them slowing down anytime soon. I'm happy you mentioned Francisco Lindor because he has really gotten my attention once again. The attention that I was giving him when he played for Cleveland. He's finally looking like that top 3. Maybe top 3 might be a stretch right now, but at least a top 5 shortstop in Major League Baseball. He's batting .273 with a .360 on base percentage, a .494 slugging, and an .854 OPS with 4 home runs and 13 RBIs. He's a defensive wizard. He's been very good defensively, as he always has been with both Cleveland and New York. But he's finally looking like the stick in the lineup that the Mets wanted from last year, and he's finally playing up to that big contract extension that he signed with the Mets last season as well, pre-opening day. So I would definitely keep an eye out on him. But as another thing with the Mets that I want to talk about too, because it happened yesterday, the hit by pitches. They have been hit by pitches at an absurd rate. I believe, if I remember reading this correctly, they have 2 guys, I think it's Starling Marte and Pete Alonso, who have gotten hit more than the entire Pittsburgh Pirates team. And that doesn't even include the rest of the list that has gotten hit over 2 times. So there was a little incident yesterday with Nolan Arenado, and the Mets, he ended up throwing Tomas Nido aside, and he wanted all the smoke after getting thrown up and in. But the Mets, they just continue to roll. They continue to play well, and I don't see them slowing down either.
Yeah, this team is dangerous. I think once DeGrom comes back, full team's healthy, they're definitely a threat with the Dodgers and Giants up there top of the NL. So moving on to our next team that we're going to discuss, that's been very good. They have had good stretches in the past, but and it usually never lasts for the full season. And that's the Angels. They're 13-7 right now. And it seems like everything's finally clicking for this team. You know, they got the offense. They got pretty good pitching this year. Ohtani been doing his thing. Patrick Sandoval's been a stud. Syndergaard's been a great addition for them. And this offense, like when it's fully healthy, they're definitely one of the best in the league. Trout still doing that Trout thing. 1.284 OPS. Ohtani has been off to a bit of a slow start. He has picked up a little bit, but they've had Rendon's been pretty good for them too. Taylor Ward is actually, I think, has the best overall stats, even though it's small sample size. And this Angels team, if they keep it up, they're gonna be pretty legit this year.
Yeah, this offense is actually playing at the level that many people said, you know, if this offense can put it together, this team's not going to be that bad. And this offense has more than put it together. They are a top 5 offense in the American League, with the exception of one statistical category, which they rank 6th in. Sorry, big deal there. They're tied for second in runs per game with 5. They're 6th in hits per game at 8.4. 5th in team average at 255. 3rd in team on base percentage at 335. 1st in team slugging in the American League at 437, and also 1st in team OPS in the American League at 772, and they're 2nd in home runs at 25. So this offense hasn't been the issue. The pitching was always the issue with the Angels during the Trout era, at least, and it's still not phenomenal. If it was phenomenal, this team may almost have 20 wins, but they are 19th in team ERA in the American League at 383, which is still not bad. It's not bad. There's been teams that have just played better. They've pitched better. Hence the Yankees. Their pitching has just been absolutely lights out. So the Angels don't really stack up there, but their offense is carrying a heavy load, and they're fun to watch. Trout, he's being Mike Trout. He's batting 365 with a 385 on base percentage and 808 slugging and a 1.284 OPS. 5 home runs, 10 RBIs. He's doing Mike Trout stuff.
Yeah, Mike Trout. Hopefully, this Angels team keeps it up, because I think it'd be great for baseball to see a team with Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani in the playoffs. Because we can't just go Mike Trout's whole career with him playing one playoff series.
I think Ohtani, that would be really good. But just the fact that Trout's made the playoffs one time, and they got destroyed by the Royals back in 2014 maybe. Yeah, that was just a brutal series for the Angels, and they were the best team in Major League, maybe not Major League Baseball, but the best team in the American League that year. I believe they won like 98 games. Probably the best season that Mike Trout has played on the Angels with. That was probably their best overall season as a team. But this team, exciting so far. The American League West is, if the Angels are going to be this good, it's going to be tough competing with the Mariners and the Astros. And funny enough, you bring up those 3 teams. The Astros have probably been the worst of those 3 teams, and they're still very good. So the AL West race it's heating up already. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, the AL West is pretty interesting, but there is one team that is not very interesting. Will, do you want to talk about them?
Yeah, and I believe I said AL East like a bunch of times there. I meant to say AL West, but AL West it is. Yeah, our last headline for this segment, or for this show, it's going to be how disgraceful the Oakland Athletics franchise is acting. Not even acting, it's just how they are. They had a whopping 2,703 fans for an entire attendance during a game against the Baltimore Orioles in a stadium that has 46,000 capacity.
6,000.
I don't understand. I don't understand. They they just they tore it down. They tore it down for because they didn't want to pay the big guys. I get that, but you had a contending team. You won 86 games last year. This fan base is so diehard, and this is how you're going to treat them. They don't even they've spent what 30 million on their payroll. That's how much they've invested into this team. It's so sad because this team is always very scrappy. I think of the Oakland A's and any team that they have, they're always just really scrappy, and then they never want to go out and spend the money for guys. So I'm cool with development and player development. I love that. I love homegrown stuff. But at the same time, you just tore down your entire core, which came from the farm. I really don't know what's going on there. But the lowest, that was a very low attendance. I feel so bad for the fans of the Oakland A's.
Yeah, that game was affected a little bit because there was some rain involved, but still, like you got to see, it's just a boycott from the fans. They're fed up. You mentioned the payroll; it is actually about 52 million.
Oh,
But
52? Okay.
yeah,
Still.
it's ridiculous considering John Fisher is he's worth $3 billion. It's not like he's the Rays owner. Like the Rays, they can kind of get away with it because they're a very smart organization. They have about like 40-50 million payroll, but they're still always one of the best teams. But if you're just gonna tear it down like this, like trading your two cornerstone pieces, and Matt Olson and Matt Chapman, can't be extending one of them. It's just so disrespectful to the fans, and hopefully their attendance will go up a little bit if they can get this new stadium, Howard Terminal. But we don't know if that's going to get approved.
It's just a tricky situation with the A's, and it's really, really sad to watch unfold. I'd be very open to seeing if relocation is in the cards. Move them out to Vegas. I, that is the spot. I would say that Major League Baseball is trying to get a team at. Just to relocate, not even for expansion, but the fans in Oakland deserve better. They just deserve so much better than what has happened to them. It's very unfortunate to watch unfold out in Oakland, but is what it is. It's a business.
Yeah, it's tough to see, but hopefully the A's can. I just feel bad for their fans. Hopefully they have a bit of a change of organization and they decide
a change of motivation.
Change of motivation. Something. When you win, they won 80. They were a competitive team last year, and there's want to tear it all down. It's upsetting.
Yeah, tear the whole thing down, and it's not just last year. They've been competitive for many years with the same guys, and now they're creeping up to that free agency mark, and the A's were like, we don't want to pay you. So maybe the guys that they got in those hauls from the Braves, the Blue Jays, the Padres, you keep listening, the Mets, they spread the love around the league with the guys that they had, and hopefully the guys that they acquired end up panning out, and Oakland will be back at the top of the American League West. But that's going to wrap it up for our news section. We're going to move on to our Around the Horn segment, and this week it will be right fielders.